All right. Who's ready to hear some pitches? Who else is ready to hear some pitches? There we go. Awesome. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. My name's Christina Oldfather. Thank you for whoever did that. My name's Christina Oldfather. I'm the Director of Innovation and Entrepreneurship at the Lincoln Partnership for Economic Development, and welcome to the JumpStart Challenge 2021 Pitches and Startup Social. So you're going to hear a lot of great pitches tonight. We've got 4 pitches to the ALLO Fiber Network Challenge. We've got 4 pitches on the UNL Sports Tech Challenges. We're going to introduce our judges, and we're going to get rolling with those pitches. But I want to thank ALLO for hosting us, ALLO for putting forth a challenge, same to the University of Nebraska Athletic Department. We've really got 2 industries here tonight that have a lot of big opportunity. And so to be able to have an opportunity for these founders to pitch a solution and then potentially get to work with ALLO or the university to bring this to fruition is a really big deal. As you probably know, we've had some success come out of this in the past. Noble Health down in the Haymarket, growing and adding employees, and Live By with their recent $9 million exit. So this is a formula that works, right? Yes. So without further ado, let's get rolling. We're going to start out with the pitches for ALLO. And I'm going to ask our ALLO judges to give a quick introduction. So whoever wants to start with that.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dave Miller. I'm the Director of Ethical Engagement here at ALLO. Tyler?
Hi, my name is Tyler Pearson. I'm the Director of Engineering and Product Development. Brad?
Brad Moline, I'm the president of ALLO. And what a crowd. This is outstanding. So thanks everybody for coming.
All right, and then we've got a special guest judge that's joined us this evening, all the way from Canada, Todd Embley. Todd, wherever you ran off to. Yeah. Yes, you do. You want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Name's Todd Embley from Western Canada, as you said. I spent a long time in VC, spent 8 years in China, kind of running the Y Combinator of Asia, which we started in 2010. Came back, was the director of Founder Institute Western Canada for a while, and then Agora, which is a real-time communications developer tools company, anything human to human, that you want to build your own Zoom into whatever you're doing. We would facilitate you being able to do that. They IPO'd last year on the NASDAQ, raised like $350 million. It was a very successful IPO, nobody ever heard of, dual headquartered in Shanghai and Silicon Valley. And now we have a startup program where I'm doing kind of the same drug dealer model that AWS has, getting involved with startups. And so I'm that guy.
Thanks for being that guy and joining us here in Lincoln tonight, Todd. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the pitches. As we bring up our presenters, I think we should continue that tradition of giving them that standing ovation, not only to pump them up, but it'll give me a moment to change the pitch deck. So that'll be great. So first up, we are going to hear our ALLO challenges, and Dusty Burge, come on up.
Not church, you can't move to the front.
Are we supposed to do anything special with the camera? Or just pretend like it's not there?
No, the camera's just live streaming. Just talk to the audience. You got your picture. You ready to go? I'm going to be right here.
Hi there, my name's Dusty Burge, founder of Remote Equipment Solutions. We are the first non-military crowdsourced unmanned equipment operator network. The landscape industry, specifically mowing, has encountered significant challenges in retaining and employing workers. Over 82% of landscaping CEOs say that that's their number one thing that keeps them up at night, is employing and finding people. In addition, one of the largest landscape companies in Georgia said that that's cost them over $1 million. Just in 2017, there were 71,000 unfilled landscaping jobs in the US. In addition to the labor issue, there's over 35,000 injuries and 90 deaths each year related to lawnmower accidents or operations. So we believe that the problem isn't the lack of workers, it's the lack of the right workers in the right spot. So in conjunction with high-speed fiber solutions provided by ALLO and software and cloud technology provided by Calix, we envision a way for Bob to work from his home and remotely control a lawnmower for any landscape company in the US. Landscaping contractors that are short-staffed or have issues with people showing up on time will no longer have to experience that issue because we can make modifications to their existing equipment and they can employ people outside of their traditional area. So this is how it works. A landscaper would submit a labor request via our web portal, and once that's the equipment's unloaded on the trailer, he would then toggle a switch on the mower, and that would allow that mower to be connected to a remote operator anywhere in the US, and they could begin mowing with the keyboard and an internet-connected PC. Landscapers could also set future reservations. So say they need somebody for sure tomorrow at 9 a.m., they could set that, and it would drastically impact the no-shows while simultaneously being especially helpful for applications that are unsafe or where autonomous mowers will be unable to efficiently or incapable of being able to complete. It also would provide income opportunities for the disabled and those that are unable to work due to travel constraints. So here's just a basic example, but our remote workforce would be on a high-speed internet connection, and then the software and hardware solutions that we would use would be provided by Calix. And our vision is to remain universal and adaptable, so then this technology can be scaled outside of just mowers. Our revenue model is simple. Once we install a hardware kit on that machine that would not impede the local operation of that mower, when they need a worker, they flip that switch, and we would charge the industry average of $23 an hour for time spent. They would also have the option that if they wish to use the autonomous features of the platform, we'd be able to offer that as a subscription-based model of $100 a month. There's over 604,000 landscape companies in the US. And if we were to employ just one unit at each of these companies so they could address their local labor shortages, that alone is worth over $20 billion a year. In addition, as we ramp up our hardware kits to be able to retrofit to existing mowers that are in the field, in 2019 alone, that market of new sales was valued at over $28 billion. The team consists of myself, and we're adding remote robotics and software experts to the team. Myself, I spent 4 years just recently in the utility industry, building a very similar crowdsourced model, and recently sold that with, had my first exit of over $1 million valuation. So with the $7,000 funding opportunity in partnership with ALLO and Calix, we'd be able to pair their expertise and would align really well in addressing this problem. For each hardware kit that we get thoroughly tested and address all the safety issues, we experience about $3,500 per month of revenue for each employee that we were able to employ, and we could scale that as the market needs. To bring that full circle, if we address the 71,000 jobs that I mentioned earlier, that has the potential to be over $250 million in monthly revenue just by filling those unfilled jobs. So we actually wouldn't be taking away from the workforce. We would be helping employ people. In conclusion, I spoke to a owner of Mosbach Ground Maintenance in Omaha. He's a landscape owner and partial owner of the Brass Rail here in Lincoln. And he said that every day he deals with labor issues, no-shows, late employees, and finding new employees just constantly consumes so much of his time. So I presented this idea to him, and he said if a service like that existed, he would definitely be able to use it on his large commercial properties where he's on a time crunch and requires multiple people. So our concept with partners ALLO and Calix, if we put that together, we can substantially mitigate the labor issues in this industry and industries in the future, as well as substantially reduce the impact of workers that are being injured related to these types of operations. My name is Dusty Burge. Thank you for your time, and I'd like to answer any questions. Yes, sir. Thank you.
So I know there's autonomous implements out there today, international, all the big companies.
Yep.
Are there any smaller guys that do this at the launch service level?
No, sir. So there's a lot of companies that are working to build autonomous mowers, but it's in the application you referenced, when they started doing it in the ag, they didn't switch cold turkey. They started doing drive-by-wire with an operator supervising controls. It's not happened in this space or any of the others. So that's what I'm proposing, is being that equipment type of middleman for that market. And then there's, to address the autonomous side, in the mowers specifically, they put obstacle avoidance on the front so they don't hit stuff. Well, they don't mow tall grass or weeds very well because they can't distinguish between an obstacle at that point. So by having a supervised person running the controls, they could better handle obstacles and applications where autonomous mowers won't be able to address.
So have you spec'd out, prototype for this? The hardware, the actual mower itself?
So my prior role in the utility industry, what we did was we took drones, we inspected power lines. So my experience on that side, I have a pretty good grasp on the hardware requirements. The spot that I'm a little bit weaker on is the streaming of data, and that's why I would need the partnership from ALLO and Calix, because what we did was we used the data in real time. We never transmitted it in real time, partially because of the FAA regulations. But that's where I'm a little bit weak, but it's easily overcome with the right team. Yep.
One, also, great idea, great presentation. Have you, there's a lot more companies in the region.
Mhm. Nope, but I'm familiar with like Briggs and Stratton, for example. They're out of Milwaukee. They already have roadmaps to plan to change how the market envision lawnmowers in the future. Our intention is not to replace the purpose of the lawnmower, and we're also not going to overwrite the main purpose of that mower in the first place. So a person could still drive it like they're normally doing, but if that person calls in sick for the day, the landscape owner has the option to toggle a switch and provide an additional option or mode of operation. A lot of my research was backed around electric lawnmowers, which those are much easier to retrofit. And as these large companies you mentioned roll out electrical options, we would hope that we would be in a position to make that a factory standard feature rather than a retrofit kit. Thank you for the question. Any other questions? Wonderful. Well, thank you for the time, and I'll hand it to the next person.
All right. Up next, we've got Josh Jones. Let's hear it.
So I'm Josh Jones, and I'm presenting my idea that is Project Exarban. So ALLO's done a tremendous job of making telecom hassle-free by providing an unparalleled customer experience. The goal of this solution is to make life hassle-free by providing an unparalleled living experience. We propose to do this by creating a hardware and software infrastructure that utilizes the ALLO fiber net to promote the creation of smart solutions, as well as connect our gigabit communities. Information in this model flows from the left to the right, beginning with our perception layer. This is a collection of hardware devices, mainly sensors and IoT devices, which are connected directly with our custom hub. Our custom hub also comes with a companion application that allows users to manage their devices, as well as interact directly with our models and softwares their devices connect to. The data then flows through the ALLO fiber net and is deposited in the cloud in a data lake, which is provisioned to several data warehouses that our intelligence layer then utilizes to plug data directly into our models and our software. And the response, those decisions that's being made, are fed back through the fiber net into the hub and therefore the devices. The cornerstone of our business model is to partner directly with cities and businesses to diagnose their problems, create solutions, then resell those solutions to similar organizations who would face similar problems. But our revenue model mimics that of OpenAI and Hugging Face, to where essentially we are an artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data as a service company. But the true strength of this solution is when we can utilize both the software and hardware components. So we also plan to monetize the perception layer, and in the short term, that's going to be essentially a build out as a service model. But in the long term, we have to own the creation of our sensors and devices. A big reason for that is a pitfall of a lot of smart applications, as well as just big tech builds in general, is the hodgepodge of software and hardware used. This makes systems incredibly hard to maintain, integrate, and scale. So independence is something that we have to emphasize early on. And really, the ALLO fiber net enables a slew of different IoT applications, but they really boil down to three services: smart cities, smart homes, and smart businesses. But this idea will focus heavily on smart city and smart business applications. The first, the smart city applications, kind of the proof of concept I made was smart parking. So I'm in the Haymarket a lot, and one of the hardest things to do down there is find a parking spot. So I set up a sensor right outside my apartment, waited for a car to park next to it. So then I fed this top feed into a convolutional neural network, which essentially predicted, is there a car in this feed or not? If it was, I fed in the bottom feed, which is a depth map. So it allows me to see the relative position of the car to the sensor. And this allows me to feed that information from the sensor back to the companion app, which will let users know, hey, is this parking spot downtown or the Haymarket taken, or is it empty? If it's taken, we can actually do propensity model on top of that to recommend, hey, here's the approximate time this spot will be open up at. And the city of San Francisco did a similar experiment with smart parking and found that it reduced driver search time by 50% and carbon emissions by 25%. And smart home applications are really just a long-term plan of this idea. With our custom hub, we would be able to integrate and onboard a lot of these different smart devices for smart home applications, such as fridge monitoring for mold and groceries, as well as tracking household items. But I would say the bread and butter of this application is being able to partner with businesses, diagnose their problems, create solutions, and then resell those solutions. These 6 on the screen are chosen specifically with ALLO in mind. The proof of concept that I developed out was predictive maintenance. So I took a public data set of engine failures. I fed it through an LSTM, a long short-term memory model, to essentially predict, given a car and its engine, how long until it fails. But this could be replicated for really any part of a vehicle. And kind of the real-world implementation is we would be installing our hubs into ALLO vans and kind of act like an Amazon Fire Stick, turning those vehicles into smart vehicles, which allow us to collect various different data points, driving behaviors, and really just help ALLO manage their fleet more efficiently. So in the end, why does this make sense for ALLO? It creates a complementary good for their fiber builds. Secondly, their current relationships kind of help overcome one of the biggest obstacles to smart application adoption, which is a lack of trust. And third, their proven dependable speeds is really what the cornerstone of the solution needs to be. One of the applications I had on my smart city slide was emergency detection. So imagine someone driving through an intersection and they get T-boned. our artificial intelligence would be able to recognize that a crash has occurred and make emergency personnel aware in a moment's notice. But in moments like that, where every second matters and is a determinant of life or death, I think this solution becomes so important that it has to be built on an infrastructure like ALLO's. That's it.
All right, 4 minutes for questions from the ALLO judges.
So I'm trying to understand how this is different from other smart IoT systems out there today that cities use.
So the way that I see it is, instead of trying to create, I guess, early on a particular solution, first we need to build the infrastructure for a solution and then build implementations on top of that. I feel like a lot of smart cities, smart homes, smart businesses are just essentially, I'll take this from that company, that from that company, and force them to work together. I guess an example I like to think of is kind of like early car industries, to where they would take a bunch of hardware and software from different people, put it together. You have a company like Tesla that essentially control that entire vertical, and their cars are able to update like that, while a lot of other car manufacturers are struggling in that regard. So I think it's more of just a long-term maintenance issue of these systems, which I don't think is prevalent because they're pretty young, but 10 to 15 years from now, I think they'll start to crumble.
Yeah, you've got things like Smart Things by Samsung and all that. They make a portion of this. I think the data application spin on this, is there a way you believe you can make it somewhat agnostic? I'll give you the problem we had, and then you tell me how. We got into smart home. Well, the problem was somebody wanted to ring and somebody wanted to Nest, and then a private branded one they'd never heard of. So the whole time we tried to sell it, they said, I want either a ring or a Nest, and it blew up. How do you see getting beyond that and offering the more, or et cetera?
Gotcha. And kind of the whole idea of a robust solution was to create the custom hub that all these devices connect to. And that's where I would think all the integrations would be handled. You would have to build custom integrations with each hardware. And kind of the revenue model behind that was like an AWS pay-as-you-go type thing. If you want to use a Re, and if you want to use a Nest, you can. It's going to cost you a little bit more, or you can use essentially in the long term, the fully integrated product that would be built by, Exarban, ALLO, et cetera, which wouldn't be an additional cost. So I guess kind of the long term was try to cost out those competitors, because a lot of these homes, or really, I guess the main customer would be cities and businesses, would be using those hubs to manage their devices, versus individual ones that wouldn't be able to be managed. So.
Any more questions from the judges? All right, thank you, Josh. All right, first, can I just say that I love that even when there's like a 10-second pause, you all just continue to talk and connect, and we've missed each other, haven't we? All right, so up next, we've got Amanda Sweet. Let's hear it for Amanda.
Hi, my name's Amanda Sweet, and I am apparently short. So I'm going to pull this down. There we go. So I'm here to talk about how we can all start to incorporate a gigabit community and gigabit technology into our lives. Because about 3 years ago, I went out on this project called the Intelligent Communities. The intelligent communities was a mess of researchers talking about why all this technology matters. And they sent out outreach people, they talked about it. Most communities didn't care. They said, I do not gigash. They do not care. And so that was part of what launched me into starting Design the Good Life. So it is, we all know that this is the technology that's going to require us to need a gigabit community. We have virtual reality, artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things. We have robotics that is going to be connected through the cloud. We've got data collection that's going to require high transfer files. We've got cloud connection over the internet. It's all centered on the internet. But now we need people to care. So let's start changing and rephrasing this question that we're actually asking of people. People don't want to know what this technology is. I can tell you honestly, they don't care. They want to know, how does this technology help me live a better life? How does this technology help me do the things that I naturally do better? And so that's what I started looking at. These are the questions that people start to ask themselves when they are trying to design this better life. And this is based, you don't want to know about all the research that went into this. I narrowly avoided a PhD. I won't put you through that. But so the main questions that people ask are, what does the world actually need? People experiment with technology. I take tech kits out to all different communities. IoT is fun, coding is fun. Fun doesn't make money. So what does the world actually need? What the world needs is a variety of problems. And I'll get to that page later, but then people want to know, well, this is a problem the world's facing. How can I actually help? These are the different pathways that people are following to actually get into technology, to get into these different careers and build a life that matters. These pathways are volunteer activities, they're jobs, they're nonprofits. It doesn't matter what the path actually is. Your goal is to reach a saturation point so that gigabit technology incorporates into a community. Doesn't matter how it gets there. And then most people don't know the technology that actually exists. You can't use a technology tool in a job if you don't know the job exists. The job doesn't exist yet. And we need people to create it and people to fill these jobs. Most of you know that already. And the last part of this is these other little segments, they're awesome, but people actually need to care about them and align them within their own life to be able to start going down that path. And that's the only way that gigabit technology is actually going to, it's the reason people are going to giga shit. I mean, that's it. So this is what I do. I connect people with the tools and resources necessary to build a meaningful life. Help people figure themselves out, figure out technology, figure out what matters, and then figure out how, not how technology is going to change my life, but how is technology going to support my life. And if you've ever seen the future of work, this is what people care about. So my general solution is to start gathering together the different resources to help people map out and follow this different path. How is this feasible on my own? It's not. The top two, diversifying opportunities for impact, figuring out what are the problems facing the community, we're doing that right now. You've posed us a problem and now we're solving it. So just do that at scale. Do it in nonprofits, do it in businesses, do it in everywhere you got, put it all together. These problems are going to be connecting and leading into using technology with purpose. And expanding technology toolbox, every single group is already doing this. The last one is actually what I'm going to talk about right now. Diversifying the pathways to meaningful work. So let's look at reorienting how we start thinking about this stuff. It can get touchy-feely. I don't want to do that to you right now, but you want to find meaning by helping others solve problems. It's ikigai. Japanese have been doing it for thousands of years. It's what makes life matter. We want to know how gigabit technology can help that. So I reoriented how we think about jobs. These are the major problems that are facing every single community. There's Sustainable Development Goals. You probably know them. So let's find out how these problems turn into jobs. I collected 39,000 data points and reoriented every single nonprofit, government agency, and every single organization I could think of into how this turns into a job and mapped it. And then looked at the perspectives people are using, and then looked at the pathways. And now we want to start mapping what technology looks like in that framework. So how do you overlay and map and start making technology have purpose and meaning? And how do you make people care? So that is how you design the good life. I've got 5 seconds left, so let's see who has questions.
All right, 4 minutes starts now.
So Amanda, great presentation. So give me a use case then where you can apply this and you get impact in individual.
Sure. So right now in libraries, career guidance centers, in universities, community college, anywhere you figure out who you're going to be when you grow up, and whether you're 20 or 40 years old, you might still be trying to figure that out. You can pull up a map like this and the corresponding resources to start looking at the different opportunities in your specific geographic region or in the state across, like the statewide, to find out how a specific problem area that you care about will actually translate into a job. You can assess the different resources that already exist and the perspectives that already exist out there, identify the gaps that are missing within those resources and perspectives, and start looking at entrepreneurship opportunities. So you can either funnel into an existing job you never knew existed, or you can start finding the gaps to create something that didn't before. I've used it before, and it does the trick. Any other questions?
The data that you source, it looks like it's very public. Have you thought about like getting deep into the private employers and private operations, and how would you do that?
So I started at the surface layer I set up just a massive web scraper that ran for about 20 days. And so that scraped all the free stuff. I asked some of the private companies or the private organizations if they would release their data. They didn't. So if it wasn't findable in a public way, I didn't have access to it. If you have any data sources that would like to be sent into this project or funneled into this project, I am all ears. And I'm also setting up an intake form so that people can add themselves to the map if they're not already on it. So that's one way to start adding in people that are missing from that map. Any other questions?
All right, thank you.
Perfect.
Yeah, today anyway. All right, so we've heard 3 great pitches for ALLO. This presentation is for both ALLO and for UNL. So we've got one solution proposing to solve both problems. Yes, so let's hear it for Mackenzie Davenport.
Hi, I'm Mackenzie Davenport, and I'm here to talk about a concept I've been developing called Highlighter. At Highlighter, we create tools to allow athletic departments to, create tools to allow athletic departments to engage their fan communities. So athletic departments around the country, particularly at large football programs, are facing a problem, which is that attendance is going down. Some programs have even reported as much as a 6% decline in attendance since 2017. Even here in Nebraska, in the Sea of Red, we are not immune to these issues. We're also facing problems like a lack of fan engagement throughout the entire game, with some fans leaving earlier than they would before. This, of course, leads to problems not only like physical ticket sales, but also a lack of revenue in the stadium itself. Now, if there's one thing that we know about the Husker fans, it's that we love collectibles. I'm sure basements like this are not completely unheard of for any of you. And the most important and crucial form of collectible in recent and future years is the NFT. NFTs, or non-fungible tokens, are essentially unique and traceable digital objects that can be verified on the blockchain. They're very easily verified and the authenticity can be verified, and that's what makes them so valuable. You might remember stories from early this year like NFTs selling for millions of dollars online. But the real power in NFTs is not monetary, but in the way that they can galvanize and spark communities. Communities have sparked around NFT projects like the Bored Ape Yacht Club and the Lazy Lions. These communities create their own Discord servers and even use these NFTs as their profile pictures on Twitter. They become a very important part of their personalities. Now, you might think this looks weird, but I have to say it kind of reminds me of something. Now, NFTs provide people with the opportunity not only to feel unique because they own the only version of the NFT, but also to be a part of the group, having many applications for sports and sports fans. The NBA already jumped into the NFT world, proving this with their Top Shot series last year. These are NFTs of videos of legendary NBA plays that are being traded and engaged with by NBA fans online. Now, the NBA has begun to show the way for how NFTs can be used in the sports world, but they have yet to integrate them into the in-stadium experience, which is where Highlighter comes in. Highlighter is a turnkey solution allowing athletic departments to mint existing video footage into NFTs that their fans can then engage with to supercharge their communities. This allows for athletic departments to create a number of new experiences, including an in-game lottery NFT lottery at the game itself. Now, the experience of going to a game is already exhilarating, particularly a football game with close saves, big wins, and more. It's one thing to have that experience and to physically be there, and it's another thing to be able to own it. With Highlighter, the Huskers could create a Husker highlight moment at the game that is essentially an NFT of the highlight moment of the game that is minted and then given to a fan. Now, the difference between this and NBA Top Shots is there's only one Husker highlight, and only one person can have it. But how do you win that Husker highlight? Not by buying it on some digital marketplace, but by being there physically at the game itself. So the winner would be picked from someone who is at the game at the time, and then they would be presented with the NFT with some fanfare, even with an announcement on the Jumbotron. And of course, this experience could also be sponsored. Why not the Husker highlight presented by our gracious hosts, ALLO? With this experience, the fan at the game would not only own a piece of Husker history that, because of its rarity, could possibly be worth a lot of money, but they could also be given access to an exclusive tailgate or club as a holder of the NFT. Now, I know NFTs are relatively new in the public consciousness, but I think once Husker fans learn that they could own the next magic moment like Kenny Bell's one-handed catch or Ron Kellogg's Hail Mary, they'll learn about them pretty quickly. This would also offer opportunity for engagement throughout the entire game, with the opportunity to get more entries into the NFT lottery based on reacting to things happening in the stadium. Highlighter would also provide opportunity for in-stadium NFT scavenger hunts, fan-created and user-generated NFTs, and additional activities in the real world in the stadium that would lead to digital rewards. Some of these digital rewards could include NFT versions of vintage programs or posters, tradable player cards, which is something I'm pretty excited about, and even NFT profile picture sets. These NFTs would not just be collectibles sitting in somebody's digital wallet, but they would also be used across social media as badges of honor for fans, as can be seen in existing NFT communities. The integration of NFTs into existing fan communities around the Huskers like Reddit, Twitter, and Discord will allow further engagement on these platforms, but it will also reaffirm the in-game experience by offering exclusive access to these NFTs in the stadium itself. In this way, you're able to create a cycle of fan engagement both in the stadium and out of the stadium week over week, with each experience reaffirming and strengthening the other. Right now, Highlighter would offer the option. Highlighter would benefit the Huskers and the community by driving physical ticket sales and in-game revenue, by promoting engagement throughout the entire game, and by strengthening existing Husker communities. However, in the future, there's the opportunity to create completely new revenue from NFTs, to boost digital engagement via digital-only events, and to reward fans for their participation via exclusive offers and tokens. When we're talking about this next stage, the digital stage, which is built to complement the in-stadium experience, that's of course where ALLO and their networks come in, where new technologies like, virtual presence and VR could be built in. In order to make this happen, we need a connection with the UNL Athletic Department. Hi. So we can make these experiences a reality, and of course, money to get started. NFTs are already becoming a very important part of the NFTs have already become a very important part of the sports world, providing opportunities for greater fan engagement, both in and out of the stadium. And the Huskers have a chance to be a pioneer in this field. Thank you, and I'll be glad to answer any questions with my remaining time. I know I went kind of fast there for a second.
Beating the clock.
Yeah.
4 minutes from Aloe and
Yeah. My favorite Husker NFT? I don't know. I just think it would be so exciting. I just keep thinking about the experience of in the game seeing an amazing moment and then this moment of actually winning it just from the lottery. I think whatever it was, that would be so exhilarating. If I could pick one, like I really like the one-handed catch. I was doing research before this, watching like the best plays and stuff. And I think Kenny Bell's one-handed catch, I think it was in 2012 or something. I'm sure you guys know. That would be cool. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a way that we could license that down the road, but I guess my question to you would be, do you think there's value in offering different types of NFTs? Like
Yeah.
Furby images or things like that you think would work with the Big Ten Network?
Well, there definitely is. I mean, knowing Husker fans, you could release player NFTs from 20 years ago, and I think they'd still do pretty well because of how much people love it. But the other thing is because you only really need 15 good seconds of video from a game to do something like the highlight, that of course could be captured, not necessarily by the Big Ten, but by anyone there. Yeah. Any other questions? Yep.
Coming from someone that is relatively young in the crowd, NFTs still feel like they go over my head.
Yeah.
How would you bring this to the Nebraska fan base, especially season ticket holders?
Yeah. Well, I think it depends because of course, at first people would be a little unfamiliar with it, but I think framing it within the game itself, having this moment on, the Jumbotron, the big screen where it says, this person won this NFT. And then of course, the fallout of that, which is figuring out how much this NFT is actually worth after the game, because if there's only one of the game, it could be worth a lot. Once that story gets out and things like that, I think people would become a lot more familiar and they'll learn quickly. But it would have to start with a bit of, just putting it out there and seeing what people think. Yeah. Thank you. All right, thank you all.
All right, so that marks the official end of our ALLO presentations. Just as a reminder of what's up for grabs for the ALLO prize, we've got $7,000 thanks to ALLO, Centrix, and LPED, as well as that potential partnership with ALLO, free co-working at Fuse or Turbine Flats, and the potential to have that first customer basically built into this process. So our ALLO judges are going to go deliberate, and we're going to move on to the rest of the UNL pitches. So Levi, come on up. Let's hear it for Levi Gibson.
All right. NIL could be great, but for the majority of NCAA athletes, which are considered mid-tier, NIL could be more of a stressor than a benefit, and this needs to be solved. So problem one, there's about 500,000 student athletes, and from the current trends we're seeing, just from the NIL as it started, a lot of the money is just going towards those top tier athletes, and then the majority of those athletes, which would be considered mid-tier, they're not getting payout. It's called a mid-tier payout. So if this NIL opportunity is really going to benefit the student athletes, it really needs to address the majority. Problem two is without someone advocating on their behalf, deals don't usually just land in the laps of these mid-tier athletes. Current platforms are too passive and many athletes are stuck waiting for opportunity. I've had the opportunity to talk with the current Husker, and he addressed both of these. He was saying one of his family members actually helps him advocate and make connections. And without his family member helping, he wouldn't be in the place he is and making the NIL opportunities that he is. And he also talked about the platforms. He's like, yeah, they're there. You can make your profile, but a lot of both of the parties are just waiting. So if you look at the illustration, that is what is currently happening. These businesses kind of know the main athletes they want to go after, and they go after them, but then the majority is left hanging. And problem 3 is it's just difficult to create opportunity because time and know-how are fairly limited. If you look at this pie chart, there's very limited time. This isn't true. I made this up, but you can sleep or you can do NIL, and that's a tough dilemma to be in. So let's talk about the mid-tier athlete dilemma. And I'm actually going to use a real-life example. This is my teammate when I was there at the university, and his name is Cody. He's a Nebraska athlete. He's a top Big Ten sprinter, so he's good at what he does. He's a nutrition exercise major, and he's 4.0, 3.9 student, so he's smart. He's a full class schedule. So from an NIL perspective, he has some NIL. He's a track athlete, so it's not like football, but he's still pretty good. But he has more expertise as just an individual, as a student. So is there some way we could use his mid-tier NIL in combination with his knowledge and passion for health? So yes, I think we do have a solution. It's called Connect Lead. So this app expands on NIL to create opportunities for mid-tier athletes who aren't getting the billboard deals that we previously talked about. And there's 4 aspects of this app, but I'm going to really hone in on athlete connectors. So connectors can join the app and bring with them NIL opportunities that otherwise would have been unrealized. So kind of like a DoorDash, these connectors are going to go in between. And I'll just use an example from Cody. So Cody wants to go out to the community and use his nutrition, exercise, and his NIL. So let's just say a student at UNL goes onto this platform and sees Cody's profile and says, hey, Cody knows about nutrition, exercise. My dad works at a bank. A Learn at Lunch would be great for them. They get to interact with the current Husker, which would be a little more engaging, but they also get to hear something about nutrition, exercise that adds value outside of just some brand image. So for a percentage of the cost, the connector will connect athletes and businesses that can both benefit from the collaboration outside of only brand recognition, as I said. And the cool thing about these connectors is they're going to open up opportunities that we didn't even realize. Like, let's say all those question marks are mom and pop shops that these connectors can go in between. Like, I know this athlete just because I'm around campus with them, or I've seen in my games, and I know businesses that aren't just these big businesses. So that's athlete connectors. I want to briefly hit some of these other ones. So another aspect would be if someone doesn't just want a one-time opportunity, they could do something like angel investing plus mentor. On this platform, they could post their idea and what they're looking for, and someone that's in the same expertise could be like, hey, I want to help out a student athlete. That's a cool idea. I can come along, mentor them, and kind of be an angel investor. Also, there could be a hub for athlete-to-athlete connection. So if you don't have a big NIL yourself, you can connect with other athletes that do have an NIL and come together, and whether it's a health seminar together or it's a camp together. And then another aspect could just be facilities. You're going to need facilities. You're going to need access to resources. If I want to do a camp somewhere, I could look on there like, hey, this person's essentially renting their facilities. So why Connect Lead? The app will help manage and create opportunities for athletes who would otherwise miss out by focusing on the athlete's full resume in addition to their NIL. And then through the use of connectors, many more opportunities outside of billboard deals will be realized. The app will ensure that this process isn't a time grab for athletes by delegating connection responsibility to connectors. And that's a big issue, is time. So let's give it to someone that does have the time and wants to make some extra money. And then athletes will want to go to schools where NIL opportunities are more prevalent for all tiers of athletes. So let's remember the value that mid-tier athletes can bring to their communities. And I encourage UNL and the athletic department to partner with me and to get this ball rolling to really capture that mid-tier athlete, that majority of athletes that still can provide value outside of their billboard name. Thank you.
All right, 4 minutes for questions from our UNL judges.
How does this compare to open doors?
Open doors, from what I've heard from the athletes, is a little more passive, where you put your profile on their businesses and they can connect to you. So if the athlete isn't putting something specific, like I want to help with nutrition and exercise, or something that they can provide as an individual outside of their brand value, I think that's where it gets difficult. A lot of businesses are looking to use your name, image, likeness to kind of bring them attention, and not necessarily your name, image, likeness, plus your resume to provide value to wherever you're at.
I got a question. Nice presentation. What's the incentive to become the connector, if you will, right? I know you likened it to DoorDash, but I guess I'm curious, outside of that initial business getting a revenue share, what might be more of an incentive to become a connector?
It's going to be money. Like if you have a freelance opportunity to make money, and also interacting with student athletes is pretty cool. I guess why do people do DoorDash? It's probably just to make some extra money too. So that's just a thing. And let's just say you can change the fees. Maybe you're having a hard time getting a deal as a student athlete. You could say, all right, you're going to get 40%, 30%, 20%. You can adjust that to the demand.
We have something on the app that really highlights why, we always preach that like from the student athletes more employable than the general student body, because they're basic diversity and teamwork and time demands. I think would there be something on this app that would show why it's beneficial to partner with a student athlete that would be more than just hey, here's a resume, he wants to go into, he or she wants to go into on them, they may be harmful down the road. So how would you pitch this to the business so they understand the benefits of hiring a student athlete?
I think it's going to come down to, like, let's use Nebraska, their life skills. The life skills is going to be working with the athlete to say, hey, let's highlight this. Like, let's highlight this aspect of your life skills. Because yes, they might have similar credentials as just any other student, but I think with that combination of their NIL and then their expertise, and I keep coming back to nutrition exercise with Cody, but it's like, this is what I use in my daily life. If they're practicing what they preach in their major, that's also pretty impactful.
Levi, did you have a chance to look at what we're seeing, since the students will be, in essence, acting as an agent? Is there a good definition as to what requires them to be licensed and actually licensed with the state as an agent?
Are you saying the connectors are agents?
Yeah.
That was one thing I was trying to avoid, and I actually asked this question on that Zoom, and I was like, what makes you an agent? I think it's just the repetitive nature of it in that connection. But if it's just kind of like random people, I think, and the rules are so undefined, but I think that can kind of work around. It's like, this is just somebody that's trying to help you out, and it's not a repetitive thing. There's not really an underlying deal or underlying motive. If there's repetition to see that, that's where it becomes a problem, and there probably does need to become licensing.
Any other questions? All right, let's hear it from Levi. All right, we've got two more presentations for our UNL solutions. Before we do that, let's take a moment and get an introduction from our University of Nebraska Athletic Department judges. If you wouldn't mind coming up.
Hello. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Joe Petzik. I am a founder in recovery and currently employed at the University of Nebraska College of Business as the executive in residence, where I've been working in partnership with the athletic department to build a lot of the name, image, and likeness programming that is in place today.
Hello, I'm Garrett Classy. I'm the Senior Deputy Athletic Director at University of Nebraska, and I've been working with Joe and Braley on the name, image, and likeness and oversee all the external areas of the athletic department.
My name is Braley Keller. I'm a current graduate assistant for the athletic department, and I'm the name, image, and likeness coordinator.
Great, thank you all. So again, also as a reminder of what's up for grabs with the UNL Athletic Department Challenge, it's obviously that amazing partnership with the athletic department, as well as $1,000 potential for Husker Venture Fund down the road, both ALLO and University of Nebraska potential for a Launch LNK grant. So a lot of opportunity can really spring from what we've got going on here. So without further ado, let's get that standing ovation for Teresa Friesen.
Hi, I'm happy to be here with you all. My name is Teresa Friesen, and I am here to pitch Pep Talk. Pep Talk is a new social media platform geared specifically for college female athletes to, one, earn money from new NIL opportunities, and two, empower the next generation of female athletes and healthy humans. So the first issue that we really have surrounds the newness of NIL. Right now, football players are making about 50% of dollars earned from NIL, and that is awesome for football players, but it leaves a big opening for a lot of other people who could also benefit, and they're not right now. Two, the people who are really benefiting are the ones who already have a lot of the fame. And so three, the ones who are trying to enter this new money-making space have to have the time for it. Well, college athletes don't have a bunch of time to chase these potential money-making deals. This issue is actually paired with an issue on the market side. We have a major unmet need. We have millions of young girls who are participating in sports and athletics, but they're really, really far removed from the athletes who could inspire them. They're going to these games and seeing them from a distance. They're inspiring them, but they want to know, how did you get to this level? What are the kind of inside scoops that helped you be so successful? I've been talking with players, young student athletes, coaches, and parents. And a lot of the things that I'm hearing are that they desire that interactive opportunity with these college athletes. One coach said, our young players look up to older athletes. Having direct connection with them is a simple and effective way to keep their drive alive. And so that's where I want to introduce Pep Talk. Again, a social media platform that's specifically designed for college female athletes to earn money from NIL while empowering that next generation. So here's how it works. First, because of the timing constraints on athletes, we want to make some really simple profiles. So these athletes can say, these are the sports that I play, or these are the interests that I have. Second, on the site side, on the company side, we would make this robust library where people can interact with our site, making it something that's compelling, exciting, and they want to participate in. All of that then paves the way to these personalized messages and major earning opportunities for college female athletes. These earning opportunities can really vary. So with some of our athletes, they could do a quick pep talk to a team before a track meet saying, hey, good luck. I heard from your coach. I know you have this big meet. I know that you're going to do great. Here's what I did. Go get them. I can't wait to hear about it. All the way up to some major money-making opportunities where students, parents, coaches, they're saying, hey, we'll pay big bucks to hear those kind of insider secrets. How did you do it? How did you get a college scholarship? What do you do for nutrition? What do your workouts look like? People want to know that stuff and they're ready to pay for it. A key customer segment that I would focus on primarily would be the 3.4 million high school female athletes that we have right now. If all of those athletes had this annual subscription, if they were paying about $10 a month or $120 a year, that already generates $408 million. And we can already see the ways that this can scale beyond that specific age group and into some additional platforms like additional videos. So with this subscription model, we're kind of setting the stage for these athletes to have a really successful opportunity with us. And that's where they get that personalized video opportunity. As they're making those sales, they get in those quick dollars. With Pep Talk, I would ensure that we have this quality team who's ready to go. My sports family would, that kind of history in me, paired with my professional side, my specialization in cognitive behavioral therapy, meaning how our thoughts and feelings affect our behaviors, and all my years of teaching as a college professor. I would also then work with people who are really understanding the changing NIL landscape. So what is it that we need to know about policies and changes, especially as this is so new, plus the software development. So I am here for this opportunity to connect with you in UNL Athletics, and think about ways that we can really design this. I think it's pep talk time. It's the time that we actually pay women for the work that they're doing while we're empowering girls and paving the way for a really positive future. So I'm happy to be with you. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I thank you again for your time.
All right, 4 minutes for questions. I've got a question, by the way. So,
Yeah.
Your $408 million revenue that you're expected, and you addressed from the get-go the time constraints for
Yeah.
athletes. What might be the takeaway? What would be the profit on the athlete standpoint for this? I'll let you take it. I won't get spitball.
Yeah, yep. So what I've gathered from talking with current young female athletes, coaches, and parents is that they're ready to kind of tap into this market. So right now, the only way that they can really interact with college female athletes is like if they can get in close proximity at a camp, or if they're going to a game and kind of admiring from afar. They want those really interactive experiences that are kind of next level and personalized. So they're ready to pay the dollars for that. A lot of people are kind of suggesting like some particular avenues. So like rural sports are feeling like it's really hard to make those connections happen. Some who are like high level athletes are wanting those kind of inside secrets. And then some who are talking about like their tier 2 sports, meaning sports that don't like get the fan base that the other ones do. And these would be kind of opportunities for them to expand on those ways to kind of excite that next generation of athletes.
I'm sorry, I'm afraid to say, from the college athlete standpoint, what would be their incentive to be on here outside of just getting to connect with their fans?
Yeah, so all of that would produce income for them. So every time that they're producing a video, they're getting that income from the video. And then when hearing from those college athletes, they say that they want either the NIL opportunity or they want to give back, but this platform would offer both of those simultaneously.
You gave thought to the global oversight or vetting that will have to be done to make sure that you get the right people.
Yeah. I sure have. So I think safety would be really crucial to this model. So in order for this to be a really safe and effective platform for college athletes and for younger people, we would need to ensure that vetting takes place. So that subscription would really be coming from coaches, parents, or sports programs who can ensure that they're actually part of those teams. Yeah.
I get the safety side of it. I wonder if you've done any research on like if Cameo is doing something similar and offering these types of things to athletes, or like are there certain steps that need to be taken for an athlete to get on this, and potentially is that like a part of our you can steal off?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So Cameo, it looks like is only doing professional athlete appearances right now. The other part is that this would all be for the college female athlete kind of audience. And so a lot of these other platforms, I'm going to say, are kind of busy, right? So you have a lot of people who are coming in with a lot of different reasons for being there. This one is all specifically for that female athlete pipeline.
Any other questions from you and Al? All right, thank you, Teresa.
Thank you.
All right, up next, we have John Pines. Let's hear it.
Howdy. So we kind of already learned about what NFTs are, but basically you can think of them as a card that you can't copy. So athletes are short on time. When I was a collegiate football athlete, I have very little time, and there's a lack of accommodating jobs. So you think like, I need to go to the restaurant. Well, they only give weekend hours to people who are actually working during the week. So no. And then lifeguarding, even that. It gets a little spicy in the weekend too. So there's not a lot of jobs, even if you wanted to make money and try to spend some time. So the solution is to sell an NFT after every game with your name, image, likeness, stats, what happened during the game, as much as we can stay out of bureaucratic hell. So just dealing with the athlete directly. NFTs and NIL are both very new. There's, as we saw with Tops from their last presentation about NFTs, there's some sports memorabilia. It's a huge market, and this is kind of like the digital revolution. It seems to be coming back because of digital. Digital killed it, and now it's kind of giving it a rebirth. So this is kind of like our mock-up of the product image, info about player. This is a mock-up of a website, top of a website. Our business model would be sell sports NFTs after every game and use a smart contract to ensure players are treated fairly and they know what's going on. I've experienced building smart contracts in Cardano, and my partner has experience building in Ethereum. Our adoption strategy would be to start with Nebraska athletics, create a sign-up funnel for athletes. This might be the slowest part of our process because we have to verify that the athletes are who they say they are. And then advertise and sell to Nebraska fans, and then expand to all Big Ten schools. And then everything is going along well, we will advance. Competition and partners. So Tops NFT, they're built on Ava, which is an Ethereum chain. NBA, Shorts, NFT, Slabs. These are all just different sports-related NFT projects. They're all built on Ethereum, at least the ones I could find. Our competitive advantage then would be starting with Cardano. It's much cheaper. It's more secure. It's fast. But mostly it's cheaper to mint NFTs that might not sell. And then we're starting with the best fans in college football. Whoops. I just killed it. Team. So this is me, obviously. And then it looks like a little formatting issue, but his name's Appy. And he's actually at the University of Toronto. We've been in hackathons together, and we worked on a couple projects now, and it's been a lot of fun. So he's my team. And then we're going to use the investment for advertising and website hosting, and then some smart contract fees to set them up. Any questions? Yeah, so we're going to stay out of bureaucratic hell. So hopefully we can just have them even take an image of themselves.
Yeah. Is it the athlete that is making the NFT?
So basically what they would do is set up a wallet, and then don't lose your damn keys. And then after that, we will take that wallet address and we'll actually install it into the smart contract. So they can, it would take like a day to set up, even less. And then they can play the season. They don't have to talk to us at all. They just have money delivered anytime an NFT is sold. So it'd be really, really tight on time. It's great for that.
The athletes creating the NFT and delivering it to the wallet, or they bring it to you? How does that?
Yeah, so the NFT would go up on our website, and then since it's locked into a smart contract, anytime it's sold, it would, sorry, can you repeat your question? I lost.
I'm trying to think of who's producing.
Oh, yeah, so we would create it ourselves. So we just pull stats, use an API, pull stats from the result of the game, have it kind of funneled in, minted, and we might not mint right away. We might wait till there's at least one interested party, because it does cost to mint. So we want to avoid minting things that don't get bought.
What would you expect the price point to be necessarily? Yeah.
I have no idea. I did actually hop on one of the YouTube channels, the radio channel. It's one of the Nebraska talk show things, and I dropped the fact that I just kind of threw it out there to see what would happen, and people were like, "Whoa, yeah, let's do this." They knew about crypto. They're on the internet, obviously, so that was kind of cool to actually see response. So at least one guy is interested. So we're gonna build it for that YouTube. Any other questions? Well, thanks.
All right, and now our final presentation of the evening. Let's hear it for Chris Amuller.
All right, last one, right? So finish on a high note, I guess. Yeah, I'll bring you home, guys. So, all right, what's up, everybody? My name is Chris Amuller. I'm the CEO and founder of Fanword, and we build solutions that help student athletes build, protect, and monetize their personal brands. Currently, we have 2 products on market that combined serve approximately 25 athletic departments and 6,000 student athletes nationwide. But I'm actually here today to talk about a new product, one that we have never talked about in public, one that is a direct response to our involvement in the NIL space for well over a year now, and one that potentially addresses what we internally call the 95% problem. The 95% problem is a challenge that not only the Huskers face, but pretty much every athletic department in the country. On the one hand, you have your high-profile athletes, the Adrian Martinez's, the Lexi Suns of the world. Those types of athletes, you don't have to worry about NIL. The opportunities literally come to them. Everyone is lining up and just wants to work with them. But then on the flip side, you have the 95%. For those types of athletes to really monetize their personal brands, it takes a lot of hard work and a lot of self-initiative on their end. And when you actually look at the difference, the biggest difference between an Adrian Martinez and, let's say, Will from the men's tennis team, it always comes down to one thing: their personal brand. If you have a strong personal brand, and the market has already shown this multiple times, it doesn't matter which sport you play, which school you go to, you'll be able to take advantage of the NIL opportunities that are doubtlessly out there. The problem is not that there are no NIL opportunities. The problem is, based on our research, that we're skipping a step in the process. We encourage athletes like Will to sign up on Cameo, to look into merchandise, to sign up on marketplaces. But unless Will actually puts in the work to build his brand and promote his brand as well, he's not going to get the returns he's looking for. So the question we're really trying to solve with our new product is, how can we help the 95% create strong personal brands? Because we know if that's going to happen, the rest will follow. The solution is a simple and intuitive student-athlete branding platform that helps student athletes build, grow, and promote their personal brands. Let me show you how this works. And I don't know if this is too small. Hopefully, I'm glad you guys moved forward, so hopefully you can see this a little bit better. But when it comes to brand development, it all starts with education. Student athletes need a place where they can learn things that matter to them. Not everybody wants to be a TikTok star. Not everybody wants to sell shirts and hats. The way we approach this, we partner with industry experts to create easy-to-consume online courses that cover a wide variety of NIL-related topics that student athletes can access 24/7. On top of that, we also give them access to a small and verified pool of professional service providers that provide services such as logo design, web design, graphic design, content creation, storytelling that student athletes can hire and work with at an affordable price point. So those are just 2 resources that athletes can use to build their brand, but we don't stop there. We also want to help them get that brand to the next level. And one of the best ways to do that is help them increase their exposure. At its core, you can think of this platform as a public student-athlete directory that aggregates everything about the student athletes' personal brands in one single location, allowing Husker fans, for instance, to browse through and see instantly all of the entrepreneurial projects that Husker athletes are working on, all of the NFTs they're selling, all of the merchandise they're offering, all of the camps they're hosting. And because all of these athletes drive traffic to the same source, each athlete is inevitably going to benefit from the increased exposure. And how are athletes going to drive traffic to this platform? By promoting their own comprehensive profiles that, once again, aggregate everything in one single spot. So the athletes don't have to wonder anymore or ask themselves, do I promote a marketplace on my social media accounts? Do I promote my Cameo account? All they need to do is drive traffic to the same profile where everything is listed right there. Fanword has come very long ways, and especially in the last year and a half. And as a former student athlete, I'm incredibly proud that as of today, we already work with over 6,000 student athletes to help them navigate these new and exciting times in college sports with our other products. And what I just showed you is a direct response to the feedback we got from them, and it's going to help them even further. At Fanword, we don't want to compete with marketplaces like Open Door Steals. We also don't want to compete with licensing partners like the Brander Group. And we also don't want to compete with all the on-campus initiatives that you have in place to support the student athletes. Instead, we want to aggregate it all into one single platform to really put the student athletes in the driver's seat and allow them to maximize their NIL potential. Thank you so much for your time. So the education part built out, the professional service providers part, we have the network established. We anticipate, based on current estimates, 6 to 8 weeks to have a functioning prototype up and running.
So Chris, are you thinking like, obviously Twitter is one of the maybe more common ways that athletes communicate with the world, that someone's Twitter account is going to be linked to this, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be linked to their Open Door profile. It's not going to be linked somewhere else. But this is the place that all athletes can use as their default.
So for something like Twitter, right, because there's not really a direct way for athletes to be paid through Twitter, they would use a platform like an Open Doors Deals to get compensated for social media endorsement deals. So on their profiles, the social channels are listed, but it's really more so just to help drive traffic to those social channels. When it comes to the actual monetization of it, they get to list, the various marketplaces they're on. They're already like dozens of them out there, right? So, they get to list, say, here's my market price profile, here's my Open Door Steals profile, here's my Dreamfield profile, right? And it's all just links. It's kind of like a link tree on steroids if you want, right? Specifically designed for athletes, right? We don't manage anything on the transaction side, and we don't want to. We don't want to compete, again, with another marketplace. There are already so many out there. We want to allow the athletes to aggregate it all in one spot, if that makes sense.
So your model would be that the athletic departments would purchase this for a service provider.
Yeah, we really explore two routes. One is a direct-to-athlete model, like a freemium model, where there's a free version for them and then a premium version there as well. And then, yes, we would love to work with athletic departments to build this out specifically for a school, where the school, and also the way this is set up, you could upload your own educational materials. I know Open Doors provides fantastic webinars, right? So those could be uploaded there. Same goes for all the campus resources. I know you already have mentors and stuff here on campus. They could be part of those professional service providers that are then exclusively accessible to Husker athletes, right? So it's kind of a combination of both. But yes, we would certainly love to explore the direct to, like the athletic department route as well. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
What is bringing the athlete back time and time again, right? Talk about Will having an Open Doors profile, builds it, nothing happens.
Yep.
Make a Fanword profile, maybe they get their logo, but what keeps them coming back?
I think the big difference is that, again, this is from marketing purposes, right? So once they have that profile set up and put it in their Instagram bio, put it in their Twitter bio, it's not a way that they need to update frequently unless they add a new platform, unless they start offering new products and services and stuff. So once it's out there, and then, they go about their business the way they would right now, like on social, if they start, landing an endorsement deal and promote a product, but now they just, direct the traffic to this page. So it's not necessarily something that needs to be updated frequently. At least that's what we envision at this point. We might be wrong, but the marketplaces, they live off of, usage and stuff. For us, it's more so that the fans go there, right? And then drive the traffic to help get, the additional exposure for some of the lesser known athletes, for instance. Yeah. Taylor, I know you had a question, right? Got it. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, let's hear it one more time for all of our entrepreneurs. Thanks to each one of you also for coming out. We're going to give our UNL judges a few minutes to deliberate. And in the meantime, I want you to do two things. First, we don't want you to leave it empty-handed. So I want you to go over to your right and get a free N Motion t-shirt. Yes. Courtesy of Scott Henderson. Thank you, Scott. And then second, go out on the patio, grab a drink, When we're ready to make our announcements, we will reconvene. We'll come grab everybody. Thanks. Oh, there is also snacks. Not just alcohol, snacks. All right, everybody. Are you ready to crown some winners? Yes. Yes. Okay, so before we do that, I just want to remind everybody that, the JumpStart Challenge is really about the solution that you bring back and how viable it is towards the problem that was presented. So it's not purely just a pitch competition. We're not just awarding the best pitch, but the winners are decided based upon the idea that ALLO and the University of Nebraska Athletic Department feel are the most viable to really move forward. So Brad and the ALLO team, would you like to come up and announce your winner and have them come on up too?
Them being the winner?
The winner, yes.
All right. Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody for presenting because, as it was mentioned just a couple minutes ago, it's amazing what somebody can come up with 2 or 3 weeks presentation, prep time, the creativity and all of that. But we met and determined our winner was Josh Jones and Exarban. While Josh is coming up, I would like to point out we believe all the ideas are viable. Please, please, please keep working on your business. If I would have allowed people to present and award my original idea, I wouldn't have won. So please work on it and continue to be an entrepreneur. Thank you, Josh. Marketing, branding.
Yes, you gotta have it in there. Great, thank you so much. All right, and let's hear from the University of Nebraska Athletic Department.
Thank you. I was blown away. This has been incredible. I want to echo what everyone else has said, that with so many great ideas out there, and I will say all of them were amazing. And even though we couldn't pick 5 winners, I think these are all conversations that we want to continue to have, even if you didn't win this competition, because I think we're always trying to be creative and find ways to think outside the box and really compete with the best of the best. And that's what we expect at Nebraska. And so, anywhere from the video platform was amazing to the NFT ideas to connecting student athletes with businesses in your resumes, and then having an aggregate website. I mean, all really incredible ideas. So tough choice. We debated for a while. It's probably why we're late getting back in this room, because there are so many great ideas. But it's good to know that with myself only being in Lincoln 2 years and only being in the university a couple of years, that there's so much great talent out there. And I think everyone ought to be really proud of yourself. So with that being said, we felt like the most business ready model that was well, not presented the best, but something that our student athletes could use and the athletic could use immediately was FanWord and Chris Allmuller with the aggregate website. Congratulations.
Picture time. Awesome. Thank you, guys. All right, congratulations again to our winners. Thank you all so much for coming out. Do want to do another quick shout out to our sponsors. Thank you to ALLO for hosting us here in your space, for the cash prize, for presenting a challenge, all of the things. University of Nebraska Athletic Department for participating as well. It's not an easy thing either to present that challenge and to figure out something that's an industry problem that can be solved. And commit to helping those entrepreneurs. So thank you so much for that. And of course, thank you to Fuse and Turbine Flats for offering the co-working, and also to Agora for startups for helping sponsor some of our refreshments at this event. Again, thank you for coming out. Feel free to hang around a little bit out on the patio and continue to network a little. And we will see you at our next startup event.